Hello everyone, welcome to another Wednesday night live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon in the United States, and I'm very happy that you could join me on this Wednesday night. Weather's not great here, but it's not horrible either. So let's see who's on. I started just a few seconds early, so let's see who's jumping on. Go ahead and comment and let me know when you get here. Hello, Tracy. I hope Laura is enjoying herself on the very sunny beach in Hawaii. We'll miss her tonight, but I understand why she won't be here. Because if I were in Hawaii, I wouldn't be here either. All right. So as you can see, I know last Wednesday I indicated that we would be using, oh goodness, Eclectic Garden. But when the last chance list came out, I decided that I would switch my weeks to doing Simply Succulents tonight because Simply Succulents is retiring. This stamp set is on sale for $8.80. That's a 60% savings off the catalog price. And the dies are also on sale at a 60% discount for $15.60. As you can see with the dies, you get all of these pieces, and then you get this beautiful detailed background piece. And I have not had any trouble cutting this. I will tell you that I usually put my cardstock on the top of the die and run it through my machine that way, and I'll get a beautiful cut. So we're going to be using those, and let's go ahead and get started. I see there are 3 people on. I'm not sure who the other 2 are because we don't have any comments from them. Oh, 4 people now. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my screen to see if I can get those comments coming. Hello, Jennifer. All right, so welcome, and let's go ahead and get started. So these are the primary ingredients for our cards today. I will be adding some extra things, of course, as I usually do. We're going to be adding a little bit of the Open Weave Fresh Fuchsia ribbon. This ribbon is on sale for $2.80. It was $7 originally, so that's a nice bargain. And let's see. Let's go ahead and look at our card. I think I might alter this a little bit because I used the framed florets dies, and when I looked this evening, they have sold out. So I might change this up a little bit and use the Fabulous frames instead and see how that looks. The Fabulous frames dies are on sale for $18.60. Originally $31, and you get these 6 dies. So I'll show you these. All right, so let's set those aside for the moment. Let's set frame florets aside because I don't think we'll be using that. We're going to be using basic gray stamping stamp pad. Got a bunch of blends here. Let me go ahead and put these so you can see what colors we'll be using in case you have these in your collection. or you want to take a screenshot, we'll be using these. Okay. So we've got Light Pool Party, Light Fresh Freesia, Light and Dark Parakeet Party, the Light Granny Apple Green, Dark and Light Smoky Slate, Dark and Light Gray Granite, and the Light Daffodil Delight. And I always have the color lifter just in case I make a mistake. So let's go ahead and scoot these off to the side till we need them. And we're also using Granny Apple Green, Garden Green, and I don't think I'm using Lemon Lime Twist. Okay, so there we go. And of course, Memento Tuxedo Black might make an appearance. All right, so let's get started. First of all, let's get the stamping done. And I'm just going to throw some scraps of white in here because I don't need any large images. We're going to start with basic gray. Hello, Mr. Cruz. Okay, so we're going to take the bucket stamp from that, or the pot stamp from the Simply Succulents, and we're going to ink that up in basic gray. And I'm going to stamp that down. Let that ink soak in. Okay. Then on this piece, we're going to take the large of the single succulents, and we're going to stamp that in Granny Apple Green. And I need 2 of those, but I'm only going to stamp 1. Okay. So I've got that. And then I'm going to take the smallest of the single succulents, and I'm going to stamp that in Granny Apple Green. Okay, and I only need 1 of those. All right. So I wanted to show you how I colored this tin. Okay, so we're going to pull in, and I put this down on my silicone mat. That helps keep the ink a little bit wetter for a bit. And I'm going to start with light gray granite. And I'm going to go along the edge of my rim here, and a little bit at the bottom here, just to put some color in there. And put some color along the edge so I don't go out of the lines. Okay, and I'm going to switch this to my brush tip. And I'm just going to flick in some color, leaving the center white. Then I'm going to move to dark gray granite. And I'm going to flick in some color from the edges, not quite as far as the light gray granite. Okay. Just a touch there. And then we're going to take our light smoky slate. And again, I'm going to use the brush strip and flick in some color, not as far out as the dark gray granite. And finally, I'm going to take my dark smoky slate, and I'm going to flick in a little bit of color, just like before, not as far out as the last color. Okay? I am going to take the dark smoky slate, and I'm going to run this right under the rim of my pot here, just to darken that up and give it a nice shadow. Okay, and take the dark gray granite, And I'm going to go in on this rim just a little bit. There. Okay. So now I'm going to go back, or I'm going to go backwards from what I did previously. And I'm going to take my light smoky slate and I'm going to go over that dark smoky slate with my light. I'm going to take the dark gray granite. I'm going to go over that again. And yes, I just went out of the line. Silly me. I'm going to stop real quick for a second. And I'm going to take my color lifter. And I'm just going to go outside of that color. And push that deeper into the paper. Okay, finally I'm going to take my light gray granite. I'm going to fill in some of this white space, but not all of it. Okay, just blending those all together and leaving that shine in the middle. And there is my pot. Okay, again, the combination I used was light and dark gray granite and light and dark smoky slate. And that's what I get. Okay. All right, for our flowers, or our succulents here, we're going to start with the light and dark parakeet party on the large. And I'm going to show you these because on our next card, I'm not going to show you how I colored. I'll just show you the colors that I used because I used this same technique. I'm going to start with light parakeet party. And I'm going to go around these areas where the petals overlap. And I'm going on the outside of the petal that would be on top. Okay. So I'm just going to stick some color in here. All right. Put a little bit right down here in the centers. Make sure you look at all the petals that will overlap, that are overlapping. Okay. And of course the center overlaps. All right, so then we've got overlapping petals here and here. Here, overlap our petals here, petals are overlapped here, and there we go. So now we've got all of our petals, except for this one, in the light parakeet party. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to put dark parakeet party over that light. I'm just scribbling in some color. Doesn't have to be pretty. Turn my project as I go so I don't have to be in awkward positions with my hands. Okay, so that's all of those now in the dark. Now I'm going to go back with the light, and I'm going to go over that color again, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to leave my tips white on quite a few of these. Okay, just overlapping my colors to blend them out, little circles. Every petal doesn't have to have some white, but you need to make sure that you leave some shadows. And the other thing that we're going to do with this is we're going to go back now on some of those white spaces, and I'm going to take my light fresh freesia And I'm just going to put some little swipes of color here. Just here and there. And let's see. A little bit here, here, some there and there. And I'll put a little bit there. All right. Now that flower's done. For this flower, or this succulent, we're going to take the light granny apple green. And my light granny apple green is completely dry on my brush tip. So I'm going to go with I want my, how did I do this? Hang on, let me look at my flower here. Nope, I didn't even use the granny apple green. I think I gave up on it. Might have put a little bit of dark in there. I'm going to go with the light parakeet party. Just a little bit here. And again, I'm looking at the parts that are overlapping on my petals. Okay. I am going to go back with this light. I'm going to use my brush tip, and I'm just going to put in just a tiny bit of granny apple green here with the brush. Okay. And then I'm going to finish this off with the light parakeet party. Again, I'm leaving tips. White. Okay, so we've got that. And this time I'm going to go in with my light Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to put a little yellow on some tips here. You don't need to put yellow on every tip, just a few here and there. Okay, and now my flowers in my pot are all ready for my card. Okay, so I'm going to show you a tip for cutting these. Take your die and a piece of black and cut out the die. All right, and then use your outline here to put this up. And hang on, I see a spot where I went out here. Okay, put that on. Line it up with how much you want out there. Put your die in here. Grab some Post-it tape, washi tape. What did I do with my tape here? Okay. Put your die in there. And tape it, and make sure you go out on your paper. Now, because I use such small pieces, that's going to be hard for me, okay? Ooh, let's secure that down there. All right, so then I would do that with these other pieces as well, with the matching dies and my pieces here, right? Again. Okay, put that down. Then I would get my die. And throw that in there. adhere that down, and I could run that through the die machine, okay? But I have already cut these out to save us a little bit of time. I just wanted to show you that little trick, okay? So I've already got those stamped, cut, and colored, along with our pot. Okay, then your card base, you need a thick basic white card base. And we are going to, I've already scored it in the middle at 5.5 or at 4 1/4. I'm just going to give that a burnish with my bone folder, right? I've got a piece of the Happiness Hues Designer Series paper. Okay, and I took the one that has all these colors in it. I took that large potted succulent die, and on a piece of white, regular basic white cardstock, this is cut at 4 1/16 by 5 7/16. So 1/16 over the 4 and 1/16 under 5.5. Okay, and it's the perfect size to fit the card front, or to fit this die. Okay, if you go any smaller, you'll have too fine of a border, so it just perfectly fits the die. Okay, so that's why those odd measurements. Okay, and let me confirm those for you. 4 1/16. Yep, and 5 7/16. All right. So now you could run this with adhesive sheet, but I did not. So I'm going to take my fine tip glue bottle that has Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue in it. You can pick these up on Amazon. And I'm going to run a fine bead of glue around the outside edge. And remember, Tombow is a strong glue, so if you can see the glue, it's enough. And then I'm going to go in on some of these thicker parts where the pieces come together. And I'm just going to add dots of glue here and there, just so the center doesn't pop up. Okay, just some real fine glue bits here. All right, that should be enough. Okay, and then I'm going to take my piece here. I'm going to lay it down on top of my Designer Series paper, which is cut the exact same size. Line up those edges the best I can and let that drop down. Okay, then I'm going to flip this over and use my bone folder. And now we have this beautiful background piece. And we can add this to our card base. Now, I tried Daffodil Delight and I tried Fresh Freesia for a card base. I didn't like them. I also tried black and I settled on the white. Okay, so let's go ahead and secure this down. And I'm going to do that with Stampin' Seal this go round. Yep, I want my fresh freesia at the top. Okay. Whoops. It has a very, very narrow border, and it's only a 32nd of an inch top and bottom, and like an 16th or an 1/8 of an inch on the sides. So we're just going to put that down. And then from the Fabulous Frames, let's see how this is going to look. This is what I had anticipated for the card. Yeah, I think I'll like it with the Fabulous Frames. Let's use that. So we're going to go ahead and put our frame down. But I want to put this in here. So we're going to put some glue on our frame. And I'm just going to put this down flat. Probably not a smart idea to use liquid glue on top of my card base, so let's get that out of the way. All right. So we're good here. Center this up as best we can. Oops. And I like to just let that drop before I press it so that the shape will remain in its natural position there. Okay, so we've got that on. And we're going to add this to the inside of our frame. Yep, I'm just going to put this down flat. I'll put this in here, like so. All right, before we go any further, we need to stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to do that right on my pot here. And because I'm stamping on something that I've already cut and colored, I don't want it to get messed up. So I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive here. And set down my pot. Okay. My stamp. My sentiment is thanks from the stamp set. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to set this on my pot here, like so. And I'm going to close the door of my Stamparatus. Now, if you don't have a Stamparatus, they're already sold out. But you can find other stamp positioning tools that will do the same thing. So we're going to ink up our thanks, and I want to ensure that my thanks is straight. So I'm going to use my grid. And I'm going to center that. And then I'm going to set this down. And that looks nice. Okay, so now we can set that aside. We'll re-ink this back up. Another reason why I'm using this Stamparatus is because I'm stamping on colored cardstock that I've already colored, and I want to make sure that my sentiment stands out. So I want to be able to ink my stamp more than once to get a good crisp sentiment. Okay, yep, I think I'm happy with that. Now I can pull this off, set that aside, and now my pot is ready. So let's go ahead and pop this up. Let's let that dry for just a second. I don't want to smear that now that it's all done. Okay, I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to trim just down in on the edge here on this one petal on the small succulent. Okay, just because I want a nice defined edge that I can stick over the top of my pot. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give this a little bit of a curve. Okay, then I'm going to stick a Stampin' Dimensional in the middle there, and I'll put a little bit of liquid glue around the bottom and the two sides. Of this piece. I'm going to leave the top open so that I can slip my succulents down inside that. Okay, so let's put this about right here. Stick that in the center. And then I'm going to hold down these sides. I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to run that along the edge. I've got just a little bit of the black from my die there. I'm going to scooch that off. Run this along just to burnish that glue down so that those side edges don't pop. And then that gives me a rounded looking pot. Okay, let's go ahead and put our succulents in the pot. Get those arranged. Put this one like this. Okay, we'll put this one down flat. In the back here, like so. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one up a little bit. And I'm going to do that more at the top than the bottom. Okay. That way it looks like it's inside the pot, but still has dimension from the rear one. And then we're going to go ahead and put a dimensional, whoops, stuck to my finger. That's going to be too big. Let me grab a mini dimensional. And let's put that here. And let's see, we want that there. Do I need it? Yep, I need another one up here. All right. And take those backings off. Stick that right in there, and there we are. Okay. Now, let's take a piece of the fresh freezer ribbon. Not sure why I have shaded spruce out. Hope I didn't use that. Oh, I just used it as a cover holder. Okay, whew. All right, so we're going to take our fresh freesia open weave ribbon. And I'm going to wrap this around Then I'm going to go under and over. Then I'm going to come back through, wrap that over the top, and tie that up. Okay, let's get some ribbon scissors. Cut that off the bolt. I like to tie on the bolt so I can save as much ribbon as I can. And now we've got a ribbon, a little bow here. We can put, let's see, I'm just going to put it right up here at the top. I'm going to grab a glue dot. Roll that up with my fingernail into a little log. Put my ribbon on top. Pull that up. And then I'm just going to put that right there. Trim those ends. Okay. Now, let's finish this up with some pearls. These are also retiring. They're currently 50% off. You can get a pack for $3. So let's grab our take your pick tool. And I think I'm just going to take some tiny little pearls and we'll just find some. One. Let's do one here. Got a spot on that one I don't like. Just got a piece of lint or something. And then we'll take another one and we'll put it right there. Okay. So there we have the front of our card. And for the inside of our card, I took the 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 inch piece of basic white. Again, I stamped that same flower and colored it in the same manner. And we're going to add this to the inside of our card. Okay. And to finish that off, we've got an envelope. Now, to make the coloring easy on the envelope, I took you guys know I like to do this. I took this stamp from the Artistically Inked. This stamp set is carrying over. I took that stamp. I stamped the outline of this on my envelope corner. Then took my Fresh Freesia blend. Make sure when you're coloring on your envelopes that you stick a piece of cardstock inside the envelope so that your ink doesn't bleed through. And then I used this stamp to ink that up second generation, which means I stamped it off in Granny Apple Green. Okay, so there you have it. The first card is finished. What'd you think? Oh, hi, Sharon. Oh, thanks, Tracy. I appreciate that. All right, ladies, that is, and Chris, if you're still there, that is the first project. Let's move on to project number 2. And remember, though, these Simply Succulents, that stamp set and the dies are each 60% off. If you want them, do not purchase them in a bundle. Be sure to purchase them separately because I believe you can get the bundle cheap, almost as cheap, well, cheaper than the dies originally anyway. It's like getting the stamp set for completely free. Okay? So let's go ahead and put these away so we don't lose those pieces. I want to show you my sample card. and how I did that with the framed florets dies. So there is the two side by side. This with the framed florets if you already have them, and this with the fabulous frames which are on sale at a big discount. Okay? So I hope you like those. All right, let's move on to the next card. Set those aside. Clean up just a tiny bit. We don't have to do much, but we do need to clean. No, we don't. We don't even need to clean stamps. We're good. Okay, let's move on. The one thing we do need to clean, though, is this before I stick my hand in it, because I don't want to do that. I don't need ink everywhere. All right. So we've got that. Let's get that done. And move on. Okay, card number 2. Now, card number 2, in addition to the Simply Succulents and the Potted Succulents dies, we are also using Cheerful Basket and the Full Basket dies. Cheerful Basket is $23.80 for the dies. The stamp set is regular price, but the dies are discounted to $23.80. Okay, so we've got those. And we are using the basket out of this one, okay? So, again, we're going to use basic gray ink. I haven't decided for sure about I've pulled out the Soft Succulent Open Weave Ribbon. This is on sale for $4.20, originally $7. And then we've got Early Espresso. Here are my blends colors for these. In case you want to take a screenshot, we'll get these out here. Flirty Flamingo, Light Pool Party, Dark and Light Crumb Cake. And then we've got from the Natural Tones collection 200, 300, 400, and 500. Okay, those are the blends that I used. I'll go over what I used for each piece. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. And you like the oval one the best. Yeah, that's the one I would have gone with, but then I looked tonight and I went, oh, those frame floret dies are gone. So I had to give you an alternative. Okay. So we're also going to be using the Easter Bunny stamp set. We're going to be using this little guy right here. And the Cane Weave embossing folder. So let's get this started. Okay, we're going to start with a card base in Soft Succulent. I'll move these out of the way because we're not actually, I've done all the coloring and the die cutting already to save us a bunch of time. Okay, so we've got the Soft Succulent. Let's go ahead and burnish that. I've got a piece of crumb cake 4 by 5 1/4 that I've ran through with the Cane Weave embossing folder. Let's go ahead and put that down. Where is my good glue? Oh. We might have to resort to, oh, look, you're gonna work, maybe. This bottle is just about empty. Okay, ooh, at least Looks like it's going to cooperate maybe enough. Okay, just a little bit more cooperate here. And we'll be good. Come on. Okay, let's see about this. I want to put just a little bit more here at the bottom. There we go. Okay, that should be plenty to glue this down. All right, so let's just center this up. All right. Got a little bit crazy there in a couple spots. Okay. All right, let's get that little bit of excess glue off of there that I made a mess with real quick. This is called an adhesive eraser, and you can find them at Dollar Tree, or you used to could anyway, or you can definitely find them online if you don't have one. Okay, so we've got that. Now you have a decision to make here. But I've colored the basket, okay? When I colored this basket for these three sections here, I used the 2, 3, 4, and 500, just like I showed you on the last card with the pot. I started with 5, moved to 4, went lighter to dark, and then I went backwards dark to light. Okay, for the inside part, these up and down pieces, I started with light and dark crumb cake. I went light and dark, and then I added in 500 and 400. Okay, and under the very top of the rim, I did under these edges right here, I used a little bit of SU 200. Okay, so that's how I achieve that. Remember, leave a little bit of white in the center. Then here are my succulents, and you get to choose which one I'm going to use. Here's the first one. This is done strictly in light and dark soft succulents, and I used a little bit of light flirty flamingo on the tips. For the inside airy pieces here, I used a little bit of light pool party so that there wasn't stark white showing through there. And then I added Wink Estella, okay? And I colored those the same way I showed you how to color the other succulents. Then today, I hadn't realized that I had done all that pre-work, so I did it again, but this time I used light and dark soft succulent on these two. I used Parakeet Party with a little bit of the Light Daffodil Delight on these two. And I used dark soft succulent along with the light evening evergreen on these ones. Okay. So we've got these for the outside, these for here, and light and dark in the middle. Okay, and then I did put that light pool party in there too. So which succulent do you prefer? Go ahead and let me know in the comments, and we'll use whichever one you choose. Okay. And while you're telling me that in the comments, I want to tell you, I stamped the basket in early espresso. Okay. For the bunny, I used basic gray to stamp my bunny, and then I used light and dark gray granite to color him, and I put just a touch of light flirty flamingo in the ears, on the cheek, and at his nose. Okay, and then this has to be fussy cut because there are no dies. Okay, I'm not seeing any comments as to which succulents you would like to see me use. Let me see if I need to refresh my screen, because sometimes Facebook does not show me any updated comments. So let's go ahead and refresh that and see if you've chosen. Oh, good, you have. Oh, thanks, Tracy. I like the other one best. Okay. The top one or and the bottom one. Okay. So Tracy says this one. Sharon says this one. Jennifer, you're going to have to weigh in as the tiebreaker. Oh, wait a minute. There's only 2 people on right now. Okay. Well, let's see. I think I'll go ahead and use this one. Sorry, Tracy, because I have a sample to show you that's colored like this one. Okay? And that way you'll get to see them both. All right, let's do that. Sound good? Because I don't have anyone to tie break yet. Okay, so again, I'm going to give this basket a rounded edge. And I'm going to put my Stampin' Dimensionals in the middle. And put some glue on the 3 sides. Okay. Remove those backings, and then we'll set this down. If I can find what I did with my, put this down about right here. Okay. And then we'll burnish those edges with the bone folder. I really like to do my baskets and pots this way. I really like the dimension that it gives. Okay, and I'm not pressing too hard. I don't want to smooth down my cane weave. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to take and pop this up on dimensionals. We're going to do a lot of those at the top. And here. And then I'm going to leave the rest of that loose. And we're going to put this kind of like this. Okay, I did put Wink Estella on the top, over the top of this, so that these succulents glisten. And then we're going to take our little bunny here, and we're going to pop him up, but we're going to put some dimensionals on his ear. So he's going to hang a little bit over the pot, so we don't want to double dimension him at the pot. Okay, so let's get his head here and his bottom down here, and then we'll set him over here, and he's going to need a little bit here in the middle. I always test this before I take the backings off and stick them down, so that I know that I've got enough of what I want where. Okay, Let's just stick this up so it looks like he's right in front of that pot. All right. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I put a little bit of Pool Party in his eyeball right there with a little bit of Wink of Stella. Okay, this card is almost done. Now you get to decide one more thing. Shall we put a soft succulent bow on here? Or leave the bow off? Bow on or bow off? You decide while I'm stamping the sentiment, which comes from Easter Bunny. And I've taken from the Something Fancy dies. These are going to carry over. I've used this die right here to cut myself a little banner piece. And then we're going to stamp this in Early Espresso. Bow off or use linen thread. Okay. And Sharon agrees, no bow. Okay, so there we go. Enjoy all the little moments. Now with this, we're going to put this up here. And so we need a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the right edge and a Stampin' Dimensional on the left edge. Okay, and I'm going to position these so I've got flat edge up and down so that the points don't stick over. Okay, so we'll do this, and we'll put this right up here like so. Make sure that's nice and straight. And there we go. Let's try a linen thread bow just to see if we like it. Let's go with small. We'll just wrap this around a couple times. Snip that off. And we'll see if we like that. What do you think? All right, I'm going to grab the inside of a card. I kind of like the linen bow. Let's go ahead and put it on. So again, I'm going to take this. I'm going to roll that up into a little log. Get my linen bow. Make sure I get the right side of it. Put it on my glue dot. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to put this right here. Just like that. Give those a quick little trim. And then we'll put our inside sentiment, or our inside piece, in with a little Stampin' Seal. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. All right. So we've got that. Now, I don't know, do you think we should put gems on there? It kind of has a lot going on. And I didn't put any gems on my other one. So I think we're going to call that good. Here is the envelope for that card. All right, So here is the original card done with the soft, light and dark soft succulents. That, so you can see how that looks. Okay. Compare those side by side. Which one you like the best? I really do love how these turned out. They're so nice. All right. So those are our 2 cards today. Let me bring in the other card that we made. And there you have it. And remember, those potted succulents and the Simply Succulents are 60% off, as is most of the things that I used tonight are on sale. So if you need anything, be sure and jump on over. Okay? All right, ladies, thank you for joining me. Next week, at this point, I am planning on Eclectic Garden, so I will see you then, assuming that it hasn't sold out by then. But this is our plan for tonight, so I will see you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.